Welcome back. We are here with Senator Bart Hester of Cave Springs, a Republican pro-life. We are talking about the abortion and the Dobbs decision that came down by the Supreme Court. So, Senator Hester, do you have any concerns that Arkansas, being one of the strictest anti-abortion states in the country, that we may run into some problems attracting people to move here for work and to work for these big companies that we have?
Well, I don't think so. I think, in fact, what we're seeing is I think people are attracted to Northwest Arkansas and to Arkansas because of our conservative family values. It's a great place to raise a family. We're safe, and I think it is our conservative values that are drawing people here.
Okay. And what about Senator Jason Raper recently said that, we have to target those who abortion traffic, these businesses that are paying for travel for abortions. What is your thought process on that? Is that some legislation that we're going to be seeing in the state of Arkansas?
If the governor calls us in for a special session, I fully expect Senator Raper to present a bill like that. And really, I do not think that the state of Arkansas can prevent our businesses from having policies that they believe are appropriate, when someone's traveling from state to state. I just don't think we can do that. We'll look further into it. I do not believe that our corporate America is having these positions because they care about health care for women. I don't believe that at all. I think that they want women sitting in their chair worried about the bottom line. They don't want them at home. They don't want them on maternity leave. They don't want them calling in sick because they got a sick baby at home. They want them sitting in the chair. I think that's corporate America's focus. Now, they're saying health care for the women. I don't believe that at all.
Okay. What about excuse me, sorry. I'm so sorry. What about some concern that there may be more legislation coming out or more banning women to travel across state lines? I mean, is that something that you're hearing?
I mean, I've heard things like that, and that's not something I think Arkansas will entertain at all, right? We have the right to travel freely in the United States, and there are different states that offer different things, and some people like to travel there because something different is offered. We have that right. Just in Arkansas, we're going to say if you're here in Arkansas, you can't have an abortion, but I do not believe we'll entertain at all preventing people from leaving the state for that.
All right, so no banning travel for abortions. Right. This week in Fort Smith was one of the cities that we saw the protests, and some of the protesters are saying that what's next after this? Women's human rights, they're saying, has been taken away, and they don't feel free anymore, and they believe that maybe equality is next. Gay marriage and other rights that they believe that they have. So what is your reaction to that? Is this the end, or are legislators going to be banning gay marriage? I mean, is that next on the agenda?
Well, I do not believe that is next on the agenda, and I would argue that the fact that we're protecting life in the womb shows that we are for equality for all. We're for equality from the moment of conception to the moment of death, and so I think that it should encourage people that we are fighting for equality for all, not just those that can't speak for themselves.
All right. Senator Hester, anything else I'm forgetting to ask you about the topic of abortion? Anything to ease our constituents' minds who may be concerned?
Sure. No, I just think that what we're hearing a lot of extreme positions on both sides, and they're talking a lot about very specific one-off issues, but really just to understand that we care mostly about the 3,000 babies that are dying in Arkansas a year. We understand that there are going to be some very specific situations that are very difficult, but at the end of the day, we're going to protect the life of the unborn.
All right. So any thought about after having the child, any statewide services, or maybe ramping up those services for the mother after she gives birth?
Well, I believe we should ramp up the services. We're already doing a great job in the state of Arkansas on these services, right? We will pay for your child to be born. We'll help with adoption services. We will help you. We'll pay for food, for housing, for education. We already do a really good job, I think, in Arkansas on these issues. We can always do better. I believe that the church should do a better job assisting in those issues as well. The church is called to love everyone and to care for everyone, and they should be stepping up as well. I think that we're seeing that in our communities beforehand, but I think we'll see a better job from the church as well.
All right, Senator Hester, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks for joining us this week on 40 29 News on the Record, our discussion with legislators on both sides of the aisle about abortion in Arkansas. We want to know what issues are most important to you as the voter. So email us at ontherecord@4029tv.com and visit our website 4029tv.com for more political coverage. We'll see you next week, same place, same time, as we continue our conversations with area newsmakers.